We gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play.
Oh, I like the title.
Soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads and endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spinning, light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Motherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads and endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Hey, greetings. Welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and today is I'm going to say Saturday, Sunday, July the 6th, and we are back for another great conversation with some wonderful friends of ours who we've known for a long time in the Star Citizen community. They are one of our very rare Star Citizen streaming fans. Today we have with us TheQue and also his wife, Girl-in-Pigtails. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Doing well. How's everybody out there?
Good to have you. It's been a while since we've had you guys on. We kind of, after we raid a lot of times when we look up and you guys are on, and Admiral Kusanagi always tells us you guys are on, so we end up tuning in and watching you guys.
Yeah, he's a long time fan of our channel. A long time fan of our channel. We got a few people in here already. Just jumped over to say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you all here with us tonight, of course. And of course, little Cody, who you said is now turned 5. Is that what I heard earlier?
Yeah, he's 5.5 now.
Oh my God.
A lot of people
flies.
who tune into our stream. He's been with us since he was 3 months old on the stream.
Oh, I remember.
Been watching him grow up.
It's crazy to think that much time has gone by. Oh my God.
Let me see something here. Hold up.
Can you bring him up on stream? Is he in his room?
You know I can. Give me a second.
Let's see.
Oh, okay.
While you're doing that, I just want to say thank you for CC Creative for subscribing for 42 months. Hey,
Yes,
42. Thank you for that, CC Creative.
Over here to me now.
Yeah, he's back there walking around. You go walked around, right? That's so funny. I was walking around back there. There's Cody.
So he
hey,
freaks out
Cody.
of
Look at
his little
Cody.
jail.
I remember when Cody was just laying in the crib. Oh my God. And he's walking around.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's unbelievable. Well, again, it's great to have you guys.
We caught his first steps on stream, and
Oh.
we caught his first kind of word.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think we did. Well, he doesn't actually have words, so
It's
not sure what happened there.
He was articulating something, so that's
He
fine.
was trying something.
Well, it's good to have you guys with us. Ops Chief, thank you also for the resub 47 months. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, I cannot not mention my cohort and co-producer, Fastcart, is here tonight. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm causing trouble as usual. The gremlins are coming after me. Hopefully, the gremlins will be satisfied with that little thing that we had earlier, but we'll see.
Oh my god. Yeah, well I hope
Oh, we have an incoming hype train.
Oh, we do?
Citizen-
Oh my
yeah,
god,
Citizen
we do.
Shenanigans. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Citizen Shenanigans. We appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be back today. We've been having such a busy time as we've been leading up to going out to Las Vegas next week for Quantum Vegas. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but I hope that all of you all have been doing well and gotten through. For those of you in the States who celebrated Independence Day, that you had a safe holiday over the weekend. And for those of you who are in sweltering states, hopefully you are staying cool and taking care of yourselves. Today we are doing, oh my God, the prisoner. Thank you, TP. Thank you as
Thank
always.
you.
100 bits. We'll take it and we appreciate it.
200 bits.
Thank
200
you.
bits.
200. Oh, 200 bits. Oh yeah, I'm glancing at the wrong thing. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. This week, we are doing a show called Time Sync Citizen. We have been talking about this a little while back, and over the last week, I kind of just spent some time going back and looking at Spectrum, looking at Reddit, looking at whatever to see areas where there have been concerns, where there's been curiosity about how time will be spent in the Star Citizen universe. And so today we've asked Pigtails and TheQue to come on with us so we can kind of talk about it and talk about the pros and cons of what it means for time to pass. And, you know, we hear a lot of different things that people say about time passing in games. And, you know, there are different statements. People will say that there's only so much time people have, sometimes because of family, sometimes because of work, or just the amount of time they want to commit to playing games. And so, as you guys know, Cloud Imperium is trying to build a world MMO game that is, in their words, something that's expansive, something that people can live in. And so let's talk about the practicality of what balances out. What makes sense for some people may not make sense for them. For other people, it may. It all depends on your type of gameplay style. But we are going to talk about where the game has been, where it is now, and then possibly where it's going to go in the future. So let's kind of dig into that. And we're going to start out with a few categories. Who is that? Pops in Space. Pops in Space, thank you for the community sub gift. We appreciate that. Thank you so much, keeping the hype train going there. We appreciate you, my friend. Let's get ready to rumble. And I'm going to change screens here so we can put some things on the screens for our folks to be able to follow us as we go along and talk here. One of the first areas that I want to talk about, these are kind of the areas that, you know, everybody who plays Star Citizen kind of gets impacted by right from the very beginning. As soon as you wake up out of your hab, there's this dynamic of planetary travel, these different areas that you immediately get impacted with: elevators, trams, walking, running, and landing zones. So I'm going to go to Girl-in-Pigtails first and talk to you about, let's start out with the elevators. We'll start with the ladies first. Elevators. Thoughts, feelings, sentiments, cursings. What do you got?
When they first came out, it was cool to do as long as they were working,
Okay.
you know, a couple times.
Mhm.
But now it's starting to get to a point where it's like, ugh, like, how long is this gonna be? Because it just takes so long
Mm-hmm.
to wake up and go do something, let alone you gotta, you know, go to your ship and, you know, get ready and
Mhm.
dressed and all that stuff. It's elevators. I think they could be a lot faster.
Okay.
But that's just my thing. I think throughout this, any little bit of time that you can save, I think will ultimately be beneficial in the end for the general gamer.
Mhm.
So I know Q has a lot to say.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
and Cody,
Well,
apparently.
we'll pass it over to Q then next. Q and Cody. Cody may have something to tell us about time too, but we'll listen to Q.
I think the biggest problem is they're still trying to balance this rule of cool situation,
Mhm.
right? And to her point, you know, the very first time you log into Star Citizen, you wake up, you go through the hab area, you take an elevator, you go all the way through the city. You might take a tram or a train or whichever city you're in. Then you got to take another elevator. You know, it takes a good 2 to 3 minutes to get to where you're going when you know what you're doing.
Mhm.
And the first time it's cool. It's like, wow, But that's the problem. If it's that cool, and we'll talk about that later when it comes to like jump points and stuff. But when it's that cool, it normally means it's epic, and epic does not equal day-to-day life. Because if you have to deal with it over and over again, it stops being epic and starts being annoying. I think that's kind of what the problem is there.
Okay. FC, how about you?
I mean, the ship coming in and out is cool. Like
Wait. We're on
maybe-
elevators. Elevators like the elevators. Yeah, we're on elevators. Don't get too far ahead. Yeah, just elevators.
Okay.
Getting on the elevators that you walk on.
Oh, the elevators you walk on. They killed me less these days than they have in the past. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
I remember being able to. I remember there was a time when I tried to approach one and I fell to the planet and that stopped being a thing. So I think they've improved that way.
Okay.
I'm okay with the speed of passenger elevators. I was going to complain about the ship hangar elevator, but the passenger elevator, I'm okay with them. You know, it's yes, there is a wait, but you know, I'd rather get to where I'm going than be flying out into space by accident because you're going too fast.
Okay.
Because you never know with these things.
So let me ask you guys a question. I'll ask all three of you a question, whoever wants to answer this, because this is a question I've presented before about elevators. And the question is, what do you think the purpose is of physicalizing the elevators?
I think it's silly, honestly.
No, I didn't ask about that. I didn't ask if it was silly. I said, what's the reason? What do you think the reason is? There has
we can't. No, that's silly. We can't. That alone, that question, I think is silly. You can't define what the reason is for someone who thought that up 10 years ago, and everyone else is now having to follow through whether they like it or not. That was Chris's idea. We have no idea what his reason was, but I will say it's like New Soul says in chat. It's not just elevators and things. It's also like getting into certain ships, like the Talon or the Atlas. Right, the mechanics of making you go through this animation, getting out of the bed in the Freelancer was a joke forever. You know, the guy's got to out. Before he gets.
I remember that.
He did.
I remember that.
Crazy, right? I mean, you're like, what is going on here?
Right.
You know, so I don't know what the reason is.
So here's my. Let me re-ask my question again, since you had difficulty with it. My question is, we all know that elevators can be done much easier. They can be done much faster. They could be done much more efficiently. In fact, elevators are not new in games. So my question once again is, if we had to wonder, why is it so important to physicalize elevators when we know that there are other ways to do it? Have you ever given consideration to, is there some method to the madness?
No.
I've given some consideration. I just haven't figured it out yet.
That's fair.
Like back 10 years, we would never have guessed the amount of physicalization. Is that a word? The amount of physicalization that would be in this game.
Right.
If you told us 10 years ago what was coming, we would say, "Oh, that sounds cool." I don't think they'll be able to do it, but that sounds cool. But they come a long way, and they've actually physicalized a lot of stuff that we would have thought would be physicalized. Now, as far as the elevators go, most games it would be instant, right? You go to the elevator, instant, you pop out someplace else. It'll teleport you.
Right.
I to this day, I'm still not sure why. Maybe it's a database thing for all we know. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm asking you guys this. Go ahead. Pigtails.
I was gonna say, I'm kind of hoping that the buildings actually end up being like real things that you can go explore and like pick different elevator floors to get off on.
Let me ask you guys this question. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Are there any games that allow you to do that? Like, I know in Elite Dangerous, I can't get in an elevator with somebody else. I can only do it by myself. But is there a game out there that does where multiple players can get in something and be transported that way?
Other than a ship?
And then chat, if you guys know something, give us a shout. Minecraft, you can?
Minecraft.
I have no idea.
Das Killer says Arma maybe. Battlefield 42 does have elevators.
But are they physicalized like Star Citizen though?
Yeah.
No, they're not physicalized. They're not physicalized. The Minecraft ones are because you built the elevator, so everything you build in there is physicalized, right? So it's not
Okay, right. Okay. All right.
2042 is teleport.
Yeah, it's teleport. Okay, cool. Okay. All right. So let's move from. Go ahead.
Real quick, I want to bring up the first one brought up a good point.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to find it, but it's scrolled off. But he mentioned how there was a Nix demonstration where the face that was following the action that the traveler of the elevator. So you like the person inside the elevator can see the ship. And the person in the ship can see the person inside the elevator. I don't think there's any other game that does stuff like that.
Yeah, this is true. That was one of the first demonstrations we got when they went to Levski, showing the real time movement of the ships and the people that were able to see them in real time. My question is always, and that's why I've always asked that question. I ask, is it just something a flight of fancy for CIG or Chris Roberts? Or is there some reason down the road that all of a sudden we'll be like, oh, okay, now we see why they did this? And a lot of times I don't see it. And I don't know. I don't have an answer for it either. But I was just curious whether or not anyone had ever given any ideas to maybe why it's so important for us to have these elevators that physically, other than they pass time, is there something more to it than that?
Honestly, I think it's rule of cool, and I think it causes more problems than not, whether it be bugs not working or just server performance. Everything that's physicalized, the server has to calculate your movement.
Yep.
And then, I mean, it just causes, these are going to be very, very, very expensive servers to run when this game goes live.
Yeah. I can understand it being a cool idea. I just hope it's more than rule of cool. If it's rule of cool, I'm not thrilled about it. So I'm hoping that there's a little bit more substance to it than that. So, okay, let's talk about the trams, because trams move into that next area, right? We get off our elevators, we walk through the joint, and we've got various trams here. Who remembers when trams first got put into the game? Do you remember how long it took to take a tram back then?
Well,
Hurston?
It was a 5 minute wait. It was a 5 minute.
Yeah, what? How long was the fast cart?
It was a 5 minute wait. I remember that.
Yeah, right. So how long is the wait now? How long is the wait now, roughly, on an average?
So it's
20 to 40
minutes and 10
seconds.
seconds.
If that. Yeah.
Well, to get to where you're going is 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, but how long is the wait? How long is the wait to get one now?
The wait is 20 to 40 seconds.
All right. Yes. So there's been a reduction in that time, right?
Yes.
Distance traveled. Yeah, usually the average, I think Q hit it on the head earlier. For the most part, the average distance time, if you know how to get straight from a hab, get to the tram and get to your spaceport, is about 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes at the most, I think, at the most extensive place. Is that a long time, or is it just frustration for that process?
I would like to answer this.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Because I don't feel like that is a long time, in the fact that every MMO, if you played any MMO, and probably most of the chat has played an MMO, whether it's all the way back to UO or AC, EverQuest, it doesn't matter, right? They all have an amount of time to get from point A to point B.
Right.
But there's a fundamental difference between a traditional game that you've played to get from point A to point B, and that is the amount of variety of what you're seeing along the way and being able to interact with along the way. You're going to see monsters, you're going to see lootables, you're going to see harvestables, you're going to see minables, you're going to see all these things along the way, and it passes the time. In Star Citizen, a vast majority of our travel, there's nothing else to do other than just sit there and do nothing and just watch the thing go by.
So is that because of the state of the game, or is that the way it's going to be? Because I think it's more a state of the game, isn't it?
Well, what are you going to do on a tram?
No, that's not what I
look out the window of the thing that you've seen every time. What are you going to do in an elevator?
That's not. You're missing my point. When the game is in a better place, you won't be starting in the city or a landing zone. You'll be starting in your ship, or you'll be starting at your base where you've built, right? So that's just because of the current state of the game. That's what I mean by current state of the game. I think it's also because players still, even to this day, many players default back to their home planet or default to a base station. There are very few players that I hear talk about, when I logged out of the game, I logged out on my ship, even though they can do that. They don't do it.
You can't do that right now.
Yes, you can.
Well, if you're solo.
Yeah, I'm talking about solo. Yeah, I'm talking about solo. But solo, I can log out on my ship.
This is not a solo game.
No.
Every time I play with her. If we're on the same ship, we cannot log out.
That is not the standard norm for a lot of players. Most solo players, is my point. I'm not talking about multi-crew. Most solo players go back to a station or they go back to their home planet. And they do
Absolutely.
not log out. Now, mind you, I think there are reasons for that too, because we'll get a little bit later on the fact that inventory doesn't allow people to do certain things. That's why they go back to those locations. But I was just curious about the time factors with the trams, you know. And again, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, to your point, there's nothing to do in certain processes. Even in the landing zones, there are places and things that aren't operational where people might stop along the way that they just don't do. So I think your point is well taken on that. Walking and running. How do you feel about walking and running in the game? Oh, yeah, go ahead, FC.
Speaking of trams, Jack, the crew brought up, what are you doing on the tram while you wait? You can't, you won't be doing it now, but I imagine when the game is fully released, I'll be trading and doing, checking on my inventory or checking on my research or crafting or whatever progress I'm doing and when 1.0 comes out. I think there'll be stuff to do on the tram later on that we don't have now. On the elevator, there's not enough time.
fastcart's gonna be checking, like the money account.
Exactly. Tracking the ticker go by, seeing how much iron is selling for.
I need 2 more points.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right, let's talk about walking and running. Any thoughts on it? Walking too much, running too much?
I feel like I have always just had my thing to sprint. Like anytime I move, I'm just like sprinting.
It's automatic. Just automatic pinky.
I don't even think. I'm like, wait, you can walk? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Scroll wheel all the way to the max.
Okay, that's fair.
Again, we have such a limited time to play, so I'm like, I can't waste time just walking. But to be fair, like when oh my goodness, what was Orison? When Orison first came out, I thought it was beautiful just to walk around and look at the scenery, the trees, the whale thing, fountain, whatever.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Q, you're pretty much in the same mode. Get there, hit the button, gun, running gun.
I think that most players, again, you get the first time experience of a city or a location where you might explore a little bit, but literally every time after that, you're just trying to get from point A to point B. There's already enough times.
Okay. FC, how about you?
I try to stop and smell the roses and look at the petals flying around and you know what I'm saying. Not as much these days, but I would prefer to have some time to look around. But most of the time, I'm running to get from A to B. But if I'm on my own leisure time, I'm not holding anyone up, not waiting for me to do anything. I try to look around and see and check out the work that the developers put into the game.
Okay, that's cool. All right, thank you for that sub goal, Thracosox. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you. I will say it is interesting though that when you do have what is it, like heavier armor, you run
you get impacted.
You run slower.
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
Yeah.
Because that's how it should be.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with walking and running. I do have a problem with the speed at which we run. And that's me. I think we run inhumanly fast. I play a game called Mortal Online, and Mortal Online 2, you can run in that game, but you run like a human runs. And so the thing that's cool about that is that there are certain things that you run into the game and you know whether or not you can outrun it or whether or not it's going to catch up with you eventually because you run at the pace of a human. But because we kind of have a little bit more of a, for lack of a better term, cartoony run when we're at full bore, that's the only thing that breaks immersion for me. I don't have a problem. It's just that it breaks the immersion, right? Because sometimes most of the time I run like a jog if I'm running, unless I'm really trying to do something because I got people waiting on me. But when I'm by myself, I'll cut back on my run speed because I don't want to hold other people because I want to be the role player, right? So I try to do that with other people. I will run for, but sometimes when you're running and you see people and they're just running and it's like, it just breaks immersion. But some people don't care about immersion because they're just trying to get where they got to go.
Yeah, I would like to say that, I wish the NPCs would run a little bit more so that it felt, because you need to mimic player behavior a little better. You can always tell a player because they sprint everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
And NPCs never run.
The difference in their speed. Yeah, their speed is not anywhere near what players do. You're right about that. Okay. Landings.
I'll say
Sure.
I say, as someone who can't run, I don't notice the speed so much, but what ruins my immersion is the amount of stuff that we can carry on our back when we're walking around. 'Cause, I mean, I must be, my character must be a bodybuilder or
Olympians.
something to carry all the stuff that they can carry.
Yeah, I know. It is funny.
True.
That
It is
breaks my
funny.
immersion.
It is funny. All right, landing zones. How do you feel about these landing zones? And I'm particularly mentioning the planetary ones, and of course the orbital space stations like in Pyro. Too expansive, a lot of space, but not enough there. You know, how much time have you spent in them? Do you spend time in them? Do you just go where you got to go?
I
Any
like
thoughts?
them
Mm-hmm.
a lot. I wish they weren't so cookie cutter.
Mm-hmm.
But then, so I find that they've gone both directions pretty severely. The ones in Stanton, the R&Rs,
Mm-hmm.
there's no consistency. So you get lost every time you landed a new one. You're like, oh, wait, where? But then the ones in Pyro are literally just cookie cutter, right? So it's like there's no real balance between that, no cohesive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
It's hard to explain.
Yeah. No. You hit it on the mark. You hit it on the mark. Pigtails, what about you? How about you with the landing zones? How do you deal with them? Are you okay? Do they get confusing sometimes? Because like for me, I know there's some, like if I haven't visited a station in a long time, I'm like, oh my God, where's the freaking elevators at? You know, you can't
that's
Does it even have the
walk.
shop?
Well, dude,
Yeah,
like,
I have
what
to walk
happens?
and like read the signs. Like, where am I?
Yeah, I mean, like, what happens when we get like 5 systems and there's 30 landing zones, or you know what I mean? And then and then you got the little remote spots and trying to remember where the freaking restaurants are. I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with you, Pigtails. That's one of the cool things, is that there are signs that kind of help guide you to get somewhere. There are a couple of stations, even in Stanton, because I don't visit them that often. When I go there, it feels like the first time. You know what I mean? Because I haven't been there in months, literally. You
Right.
know.
Well, Serious Fun brought up a good point, and props to the dead. Not all the time do I give them serious props.
Mhm.
Mini map. Oh
mini-map.
my God.
Yeah,
It is
that
so
helps.
nice.
Yeah.
It is so nice.
But
Yeah.
does it tell you, I haven't noticed. Does it tell you like where like the food is?
It
or
does.
The
If you go to the real
Mhm.
map and you zoom in, and you can even like route to it.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
It makes a
I-
big difference. Yeah. It makes a big
For
difference.
someone who uses Google Maps for everything, like even going home, like
Even going home.
Yeah.
I appreciate
That's
them.
cool. That's cool. Well, I'm gonna tell you, this old dinosaur, I hate to tell you guys this, I never used the map. Ever. I'm
Really?
I'm built old school. Yeah, old school back in the day when we had graph paper. I mean, I've always learned how to memorize where I have to go. unless it's been a while. And if I haven't been here in a while, I'll get lost. I got to refresh my memory. But
I'm not lying to you. If we were driving to the 4th of July thing, and we're going on major highways, and the GPS had disconnected. I was like, I don't even know how to get home.
Yeah, we get used to it.
Get home right
I know,
now.
I hear you, dude. I hear you. We get used to it. I get it. Trust me. I definitely get it. I definitely get it.
Now for me, like before Pyro came into play, the
Mhm.
worst landing zone for me was Louisville, and because they had it look trashy and like stuff like that. But when they introduced Pyro.
Mm-hmm.
See, as someone who has a disability and relies on elevators, those elevators in Pyro freak me out. and they're so ratchet and loud, and I'm like, oh
Right?
boy, if I get stuck. I mean, you know about immersion? I'm not claustrophobic or anything, but I worried about getting stuck in Pyro elevators. Okay, that's how much they freak me out.
Well, I can tell you now, you don't have to have a disability to have that fear. Trust me, those things are scary when they open and close. Trust me, I get it. Okay.
Now,
Yeah, go ahead,
have
Pigtails.
This I know Cody's all talking.
It's okay.
I don't know if you have this for this specific topic, but
Mm-hmm.
do you guys think the like landing zones, like hangar, do you think those are too big?
That's a topic in itself,
That
I'll tell you.
You know,
That
it's
to like run to like
there are
elevator
oh
or-
God, there's like weird things about the elevators. I mean, the hangars that kind of drive me to your point. Like if you've got an extra large hangar and you spawn like a vehicle, it's like
a razor.
yeah, or, right. It's like it takes you like 2 minutes to run to it, right? Which is kind of crazy. And it's also because we come in at the far end of the hangar. You know what I mean? Because if you're over where the cargo elevator is, the run is shorter. but it's longer when you're running, and it definitely doesn't help when the entrance to your ship is at that end of the ship.
The other
too,
way, yeah.
you know, so it definitely makes it worse. You're like, sometimes I'm so glad, like your character opens up right there. It's like, oh God, thank you, it's pointed in the right direction.
It opens forward.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
Your ballet.
Yeah, there you go. Right, that's it. That's the way to go. Yeah, it is. But then again, you know, those times when you go into a smaller medium hangar and it doesn't feel it. But definitely when you get to the extra large, it's a monstrosity. It's your home base, right? Every place else, the elevator fits whatever your ship is, so it's not as bad.
I am not looking forward to trying to decorate my extra large hangar.
Yeah.
that'd be especially like imagine you just got finished decorating it, and then a week later there's a reset and got to do it all over again.
Well, we used to have that. I mean, that's all it used to be.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad back then. It wasn't bad back then.
Yep, it
didn't have very many items to decorate with back then.
That's right. Yeah, prisoner, you're right. That's where your golf cart, your gray cat kicks in, right? That's back in the day. For those of you who don't remember, way back when we had the original hangars, and Q, you remember this? We used to get in the old golf cart and drive 5 hangars over sometimes. Remember?
They were multi-hangered. Yeah, I wish I would. Okay, I know this is off topic, but I really wish they would have used the designs for the old hangars for the current. I mean, their instance, anyways. Why can't we have those cool designs?
Yeah, they were great. Yeah. Those were great. Those were great.
I would be happy with just to get my Rebel New York hangar back. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
But Rebel New York was my favorite.
Yeah, they were.
Do you guys remember that like hollow table thing?
Yeah. Oh God! Don't mention that, Pigtails. Oh my God! The hollow table. That's trauma. Oh my God! Talking about that thing. Oh my God. Okay, let's jump into space travel. And I know that this is always an interesting one. Jump points right now. Do you guys feel like, we've had a little tweaking to the jump point from when we first got it to go to Pyro. How do you feel about that time frame, the challenge of it? Do you feel like it's enough time, too little, too easy?
Again, I think it was great the first time, and then I just started getting like, ugh. Okay, again.
Do you think
you drive? No.
Yeah. I mean, Q, do you think that each jump point later as we get other systems will, in other words, they won't feel the same? Like some are more difficult, some are longer than others, some are shorter than others.
I hope so for variety's sake. I don't want them. So when they first put the jump point in, I was watching Burks on because we don't play PTU, right? So. I was watching Burks do it a few times, and it was excessively long when they first put them in. They dialed it down, and I think they're right at that zone where it's like not quite too long, and it's not quite too. I think it's right there. The problem I have is there's 0 penalty basically in there. You can run into all those little tubes. They don't do anything, right? They do nothing to you. You just fly right on through. So again, after you've done it a couple times, you realize that.
Yeah, but it needs to be the challenge needs to be there. Yeah, go either you get kicked out of the system, whatever it was supposed to happen would be, or damage to your ship even. There's some type of damage that happens. Electronics or something gets jacked up or something. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, that's a good point. FC, I know you finally did your jump. Finally, it took a little while. Fastcart finally went on ahead and did it, right?
And I didn't know there was no penalty, so I was trying to be careful as I could. A little bit. But I got too close to the wall. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be kicked out. And then I stayed in and made my way through. I'm like, okay. But then I made it to the other side. Then I think, I have Eve trauma. Okay, Griffin will tell you I have PTSD.
Looking out, who's gonna kill me?
So yes, exactly. So whenever I popped out, I'm like, okay. Let me stop my waypoint as soon as I can, so I can get out of here. I'm a sitting duck right here.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about system travel then, since we deal with jump points now. For those of you who weren't around back in the day, like all of us old folks in the room right now, when the game first started, we first got the persistent universe. The area that we got was Port Olisar. And there were a couple other minor areas that you could visit, some POIs that you could visit.
That's Armada,
but then after that, the first planetary body we got was Hurston. And if I'm remembering correctly, on a moderate ship, not on something with a really big quantum, the average time to travel from Port Olisar to Hurston was anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes. That's how long it literally took just to get to Hurston. Now, since then, they've reeled that back. They've pulled it down some. And one of the things that we've seen is that as this is being built out, CIG is also adjusting what was proposed, what was mentioned in the beginning, and what we have in reality. And I think that will continue to happen. So, for example, Pyro was, I think, 14.5 AU originally, 14.14 AU, something like that. And when we got it, they reduced it down to about 9.5. Now, for some people, they were a little upset because they were looking forward to the bigger area of space. But in retrospect, we have to remember that these are two fairly small systems. There are systems that are literally 100, 120 AU, and those will probably get shrunk and pulled back some. So one of the questions that people have asked is, well, what are we going to do while we're traveling? Now, I will tell you this, and I'm going to put us out to the floor for them to share their thoughts. When we first got the being able to jump from jump point to jump point from the different gates, I was with a couple of friends, and we jumped from the Terra gate to the Magnus gate, and we did it in a Starfarer, and it was just for kicks, just for fun, just to do it. But it took us 29 minutes to get across the system. Now, I don't know if that's fudged since then. This is when we first got it.
It has, and I'll explain.
Okay, yeah. And so there won't be a lot of times when you guys will ever do that. You won't ever like cross a system from edge to edge when you're playing the game. But there are people that still say, well, what do I do for 12 minutes? What are we doing for 6 minutes? It's too long, you know. So let me put it out to the floor. Let me give you guys your thoughts. Pigtails has got her hands up for the wave. What you got?
Arena Commander in our little pods.
The pods? Doing a little combat play in there, having some fun in the hologram.
Remember when we used to have those? Remember we had the Arena Commander pods?
Yep.
They weren't called Arena Commander pods. They were something, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You used to go into your hangar, the hangar module, and to get into that, to get into Arena Commander. That's how it used to work.
Right.
But all right, so I have a lot of thoughts on this one.
Okay.
First, I do want to address it is way, even from the 3.0 to 4.0, they increased it to the point where if you're in an Idris or Polaris, they actually travel faster than light at Quantum now. Like 350,000 meters per second or something crazy. Like they are ridiculously fast now. My problem is, let's go back to what you were saying just earlier when you made the statement that was correct, by the way, that most people are soloing. They're going to be in much smaller ships that are going much slower, much slower. And those ships have very little to do inside them, even if they put more stuff. Right. And let's go back to my statement of you used to have harbors, all these other things. Well, if all I have is my ship every time, and every time I'm jumping, it takes 10 minutes, I'm going to quickly get bored with the couple of things I can do in my ship. There's no harvestables, there's no monsters, there's no mining, there's no, I'm getting to see a new site as I'm, because it's black space. So I don't even get to see like a citadel in the distance as I'm running by or anything. Right. I get nothing but black space. Right. And that's where that balance I'm struggling with, because it really frustrates me sometimes when I'm in a smaller ship jumping from point to point, and I'm like, oh God, okay. And then you can't even go pee because you can get interdicted. You know, it's like Well, I don't think you get interdicted much anymore. Back in the 3.8, 3.9, remember, like every jump you got interdicted for some reason. Right. Not so much anymore.
Right. FC, what about you? What have you thought about during that 12-minute, 8-minute period of time? What are you thinking about doing?
I'm like I said, you can't do it now, but I'll be checking my inventory, checking my processor, checking my crafting, when those processors are in place. But for now, I'm just sitting there waiting. But I do worry for I'm not worried, maybe that's the wrong word, but I wonder when the solar system is actually put into the game, how big would they make that? Because we know it's 93 AU between just the Earth and the Sun. I can't imagine it'll be 1-to-1
I mean, I believe that they will reduce. We don't want systems to feel like they're instantaneous, to Q's point, but we also want them to feel like there is some passage of time. I think the question is, what do people consider for passage of time? Now, I will tell you again, guys. You guys know I'm the dinosaur in the room. When I travel across space, even now solo by myself. Now, I know that Serious Fun is suggesting some things here, and I think that a lot of those things are good in the sense of multi-crew plays. Mentioned pod training, as you mentioned, Pigtails. doing some engineering and tuning. He talked about repairs. Maybe there's a group of people who are going to be talking and planning what it is they want to do when they get somewhere. But what happens for that person who's out there by themselves and they're just traveling across the system and it's going to take them 6 minutes or 7 minutes to get somewhere? I'm going to suggest something that's completely novel, fastcart. Are you ready for it?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
This.
Reading.
What would
sitting
you
there
be
reading a book.
doing? What would you be doing
no,
otherwise?
no,
Now, let me tell you why.
no.
Let me tell you why, Q. Let me tell you why. For me, if I'm willing to go into an immersive game that has I've said that I'm going to be doing space travel and I'm jumping 2 or 3 systems someplace, I also have to bring a certain expectation that does not happen instantaneously. And so for me, I said for me now, I'm not saying for everybody. Listen, there have been plenty of times I broke out. I'm reading something on my iPad while I'm sitting here and I don't get up just in case I get interdicted.
Kindle open.
That's right. That's right. Because that's what I would be doing if I was really in there. If I didn't have any people to talk to or sitting at a pool table or a plastic, I would sit here and read something. I would do something. And but this is where it becomes difficult because some people, again, that's not what they're going to want to do. They want to get where they're going. For those of you who've played Elite Dangerous in a one-to-one space system, we've talked about this before. There are people who spend weeks traveling across in those systems, literally freaking weeks. And we have people that will say, 12 minutes is too long. And it's like, yeah, which one do you want? And I don't know what the balance is. I don't know what the balance is. I said, but for me, to help me with that balance, doing something like this helps me versus just sitting here watching the stars go by, but that's me. And I'm just suggesting that,
Would you want an in-game book series or
so you know what? That's a cool question because there are things that CIG has talked about that they hint to, right? They want to do. For example, you know how some of the ships have the different monitor screens on them, not just for systems and stuff, right? But what happens if there's the in-game news broadcast that's going on, right? That allows me to play catch up, or like fastcart mentioned, if he could bring up the TDD and the stock market reports because he's doing trading, or there's reports about the war that's going on somewhere. I think that to your point, Q, when those things aren't in the game, it just feels vacant, right? It feels like you're doing nothing. They need to give
in the
us
game.
stuff.
I would enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie because
that.
I would feel immersed in the game. I am against, and this is just me. I'm not against reading. I read
I know.
But what I'm against is the amount of money I've paid towards this game to not play the game.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of silly to me.
Another thing, Griff, is I forgot what ship it is, but the one that has the chess set.
Yeah, the MSR.
Q's like, I was like, oh, Q, we can do this, and he's all, no. I am not gonna play that.
Well, you've got the chess games. There's some ships have the pool tables like the 600.
Cool.
Some of them literally have, like the 600 has an area where you can sit down and watch something on television. There are other ships that are like that too. But I agree with you, Q. I think that those things need to get built in to make it still feel like that's staying immersed. Because even when I'm reading a book, I'm stepping out of the immersion. I'm just doing it as a form of passing time. And I'm saying if I was on a ship sitting there by myself, I'd probably be sitting there reading to pass time.
You would be. I would love to read like in-game lore. So I really would love to do that. I do feel like there needs to be amount of time for the immersion, but it's just rough to just sit there. I mean, if it weren't for Discord, let's be real, a lot of players wouldn't play Star Citizen because they can chat with people and do so, while they're sitting in quantum and doing all these things, right?
Yep. It does help.
It's huge.
I think what would be great though is if you were to take the time to do these like little things that like if you, I don't know, for instance, finish a book or finish a magazine or do like an arena commander, a session, you kind of get a little bit of increase in like reputation or something.
Yep.
I have a question. So, like in chat, a couple of people, Togi and Shirt Fun, say they were to take a whole day, mind you, to get across the system. How long would you be okay with trying to get from planet, like from the Earth to Mars in game?
It depends on how much I have to do during that.
Yeah, I mean a planetary jump like that.
That's the factor. The factor isn't the amount of time; it's what I have to do during it. Is the factor. If I'm just staring at my panel, screw that. I'll do something else.
Yeah. A planetary jump for me, fastcart, I can't gauge. I can't give a long time for a planetary jump. When he said that, totally, I'm saying across a system, that's a different thing. I think that there would be players that would find that way too hard, even though, you know, you're moving closer toward some form of realism, right? But it would also step into an area that I think a lot of people, unless you're hardcore, like I was mentioning for Elite, there are people who are hardcore, people who are into astronomical stuff, and they love that stuff, that it takes freaking 4 weeks to get to the center of there are other players that ain't no way they're doing that. You know what I'm saying? They had 4 weeks, they ain't spending 4 hours going anywhere. So
I mean,
it's too much.
I mean, I mean, if it takes 8 minutes for light for the sun to reach the Earth, if it takes 8 minutes to travel between the Earth and the sun, that would be okay. But from the Earth to Pluto, for instance, that's what, hours? Yeah, that's too long.
Yeah, see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It gets to be long at that point, unless that system, to choose Q's point, if you're talking about everything is embodied in that system, so that's everything's there. And I need to get over to the side of the system, that's different. But that's not the game we're playing. We're playing the game that one system amongst dozens of systems. So that's the only reason why I think that scope wouldn't work if in that case.
I'm also way for if I am going somewhere that's gonna take like longer than a day, or maybe a week or something, just putting my little happy butt on like a transport ship, logging off, and like it just takes
get there.
No
Actually,
problem
I
with
thought
that.
that's what. Okay, so I thought we were going to have that. I thought that was the whole purpose for the Starliner, right? Or the you know, the other transport ships. It's like, okay, I know it's going to take, you know, a day or 2 days to get over there. That's why we have so many accounts. We're like, you know, I'm just going to set that account. I'm going to go pay someone to move me, and then I'll log back on this one in 2 days.
When I get there,
I had planned for that. I mean,
maybe
do
it'll
I
happen.
want to sit there? No, but I planned for that. I thought that was the plan.
It might come up. I don't
honest.
put anything past them. I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with something like that. Because I know there are people that would definitely take advantage of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, let's move on to this next one because we got to get ready for our commercial break, and we haven't even gotten through a quarter of this show. So let's talk about which ships. And we're going to you guys, I'm going to let you guys we can kind of combine this a little bit, because as you all know, the idea of insurance and reclaiming are kind of tied together. Alex Twitch, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. You know, what are you guys' feelings in relation to this? You know, CIG has been revealing more and more to people, even though this has always been the plan, but it's been more clarified that CIG doesn't necessarily want destruction of ships as much as they want this game mechanic of ships becoming damaged or repaired. You go to places to get them fixed, or you rely on other players to come tow you or help you get your ship together. You have your own economy with buying resources in order to do repairs and work. But there is that opportunity where your ship could get destroyed, where it could be just damaged completely. And there's been this thing about how long should it take? You know, should it be? And I'm just going to pick up average ship. I'm going to pick a couple average ships. Let's say we pick something like a Cuddy Black. Let's say we pick something like a Carrack. And then let's say we pick something like a Polaris. Let's pick those three. Yeah. Give me your feelings of it. You know, let's say your ship got completely destroyed and you got to claim for your insurance. What would you think is an equitable time for a Cuddy Black? Give me your Cuddy Black numbers first. I'll go with you, Q, first. What do we got for Cuddy Black? How fast should we get that back?
Cuddy Black is not a starter ship. I would say probably an hour or two.
Okay, hour or two.
Honestly.
Okay.
Now I have some other stipulations here, right?
Okay.
I would say the biggest. I want to do it a little bit differently. The starter ship should be almost instantaneous.
Right.
I mean, raw, real starter ship, right?
Gotcha.
I mean, almost instantaneous. You can't have people without a vehicle. They're very important in this game. Then as you start getting bigger and bigger, the time gets crazy. Like I think an Idris or a Javelin should be weeks.
Okay.
Right now, the other side is I do think you should be able to pay to expedite, and it should be a very hefty fee. And I don't like the way they do it right now, where you pay to expedite it, but if you were to just wait for the expedite timer to go to the bottom, then you pay less and you get it instant. And there's no difference in time, by the way. There's difference in time whether you wait or press in the start. There's zero difference. You just save money if you just go shop first, then come back and do it. So I think the system we have right now is silly. I think it should be a lot longer. But I think there should be means of making it faster through very expensive expedited. That's what I think. But I think the starter ship should be almost instant.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the great purposes for having them. Like I tell people all the time, I fly starter ships to get here and there as much, when I just want to go somewhere real quick and leave a ship, I can care less about the other ships because I stock my other ones. And if I just want to go, if you tell me, Q says, hey, meet me at Microtech, you'll see me roll up in a freaking Aurora MR. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to jump in your ship when I get there, right? And so you're right. It is nice. Yeah, the little roach. Yeah. So those ships are nice to have just for availability to get around. And Q, I think your point is well made about time, but you also remember that there was a time when they did adjust those times and people went ape pigtails. They went crazy.
Oh man,
they went crazy. Now, mind you,
they didn't adjust them that much.
I agree. Now, I will say this. The reason why they pulled it back, and this was a legitimate argument from the community, it was like, hey, sometimes we lose our ships because of absolutely nothing we did. Something happened, the game crashed, and now this is the only ship I had. That Cuddy Black's the only ship I have, and now I've got to wait 3 hours for it, right? So now that the game's more stable, to Q's point, they may start creeping those times up. So for Pigtails, for you, for Cuddy Black, what do you think would be a fair time to get it back?
30, 45 minutes.
30, 45 minutes? Okay. FC, how about you?
For Cuddy Black stock, an hour and 15 minutes.
Hour and 15 minutes. Real specific time.
Hey,
all right.
Want me to give you the second?
There you go. All right. Q, I'm going to come back to you now. We're stepping it up a little bit. A Carrick.
I think a Carrick is a time frame, honestly, because I think
you kind of went out. Say the time again.
You went out.
You went out.
Like a day, because a day? Okay. I think they're trying to do the whole, it's built on supplies and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like the starter ship's supposed to be like a Toyota, right? Everywhere.
Okay, a day. Pigtails, Carrick.
Yeah, I would say about a day or two, maybe.
A day or two. Okay, 1 to 2 days. All right. FC, how about you?
I'm going to be more forgiving, I guess. I'm going to say a Carrick is 12 hours. Well, wait till you hear what I say about the Polaris. So a Carrick will be 12 hours for me.
12 hours for a Carrick. Okay, 12 hours for you. Okay. All right, Q, back to you, the big boy, Polaris.
Big boy.
Week.
Ooh, a week.
Dang.
Pigtails.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, a week sounds reasonable. I think it depends too. If there's like limited supply, that should increase the time. So like if there's not the right metal or something or drives, I think that could increase. I think bare minimum it should be a week.
Yeah.
But then it can increase.
Yeah.
But I also think there should be things that you can do to make the time go down. So like whether that's maybe crafting stuff to like help the build, or like go mining minerals or metals, and then like you give it to
deliver it,
the garage person.
Okay.
And that like takes down the time.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that I've shared this before on the show, I hated about in Eve was that when miners got destroyed or got attacked a lot, it didn't really affect the economy that much. And I always felt like the price of ships should go up in that area, that system or something. There should be some impact. And to your point, and to Q's point, because he mentioned this earlier about whether they built the economy in such a way that those resources that are available in that system or that place have an impact on how quickly you may or may not get your ship back. And so I'm hoping, to your point and his point, that ultimately those things become real in the economy to the point where if my ship gets destroyed, normally it takes 36 hours. But because there's a shortage that happens, and mind you, as long as the game also reflects that shortage, maybe it's not going to be 36 hours. Maybe it's 48 hours now, So I would love to see something like that too. FC, what about you for the Polaris?
For the Polaris, I said 12 hours for the Carrick, so I'm going to say a day for the Polaris. Now, the flip side is people who play good money for their ships. He probably say a day. I paid too much money to wait and not have their ship. So that's why I'm trying to balance it a bit. But if it was strictly AUEC or UEC,
I think
maybe 48 hours.
I think you were merciful for one day, personally. If somebody got their ship back, I think Q and Pigtails were way more closer to the pain for some people than you were. I think you were gracious with one day on a Polaris being lost. I'm somewhere more leaning toward their scales of time. There's that thing that says, what makes people not be able to do what they want to do versus when they can't play the game. It's not that they can't play the game. It may have more to do with not being able to do what they want to do. And so if you lose that ship, and I'm trying to pick something, let's say the Polaris, and you don't have it for a week. Well, yeah, I can do some other stuff. I can go do some repair things. I could do some other stuff, but I can't do what it was the Polaris was allowing me to do. So I think that to their point, finding that balance, that makes it risky, because I'm gonna be honest with you. People losing their ship in one day. There's some people you and I both know who have 4 Polarises. So they didn't squat. They'll fire up another one.
We're one of those people, right?
Are you okay?
So I mean, she has 372 ships. So let's be clear here. She ain't gonna be worried about insurance timers.
You have more ships than there are in game. Okay.
Yeah, we have multiples of the big ones.
Yeah.
But I would say a day for the Polaris, but I would give like an Idris a week, a Javelin 2 weeks, and a Bengal a month.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the metrics I would use as a starting point, if I were doing it, would be the mean time between destruction, and I would probably make it half the mean time between destruction. So if your average Idris is alive out there for a month or 2 months or whatever it is, because you shouldn't be getting it, to your point, Griff, it shouldn't be destroyed. I mean, just because you got it banged up, don't mean you just get to go claim it for free or not for free. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because the thing is you go bang it up and you're like, okay, the other thing I want to say, I'm sorry, is the average player time too. So a lot of Star Citizen players they only play X amount of days per week and X amount of hours in those days. So if I know I play Monday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm going to blow everything up on freaking Monday, hit claim, and I know damn well it's going to be there on Friday, right? You know what I'm saying? So point, what's the point? Right? Well, because I'm not even going to be on to play. So it doesn't matter if it takes 3 days to claim. It's going to be there when I get back.
Like going to prison, right? You go to prison, I'll be back.
Right, I'm just logging off.
Prison, the ultimate time sink.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let me ask you this then. We talked about what happens when a ship is completely lost and time factors there, but what about repair? Do you think that there should be, we've been through the days when we had the drones come out with the little lasers. We go to the hangar now and your repairs happen. There's a little bit of a clock there, a little bit of a clock when you do repairs. But do you guys think that, if your ship is jacked up, man, you can't just put a wing on in like 12 seconds.
Right.
Do you think the time should be added to repair? And is that a time sink?
Maybe. That would definitely be a time
Wait,
sink.
say that again?
So when you land and you're like refueling, repairing, and the repair is like instant.
Yeah, like let's say you lose a wing on your ship.
Oh, there definitely should be a timer on that. 100%, Griff.
And
okay.
Would that be a time sink?
There used to be. Well, it was longer. I'm not saying there's a timer, but remember Astro Armada? Like and the little things would fly out. It would take some way faster than instant. Like now, the biggest problem I have now is you don't even know what the timer is. You're like, is it working? Is it not working? You don't know. And you're just like F4. You're like, did the wing come back?
Right. Exactly. So let's talk about this. Let's say you've got a badly damaged Connie. You've lost an engine on it. It's pretty hull damage, pretty bad. You're sparking and you're smoking when you came in. If you hit that repair button, what do you think a time should look like?
I don't think it should be more than 5 minutes. I think
5 minutes, that's kind of quick.
Yeah, I think it should. Again, let's go to like mean times, right? Your average player, again, you shouldn't just be land. If your anticipation is land, repair, and leave, no. I think the game is designed with immersion that you land and you have to get out, go do other things anyways, restock some stuff. So what is the average time that a player does that? Say that's 3-5 minutes. That's how long it should take to repair a ship, right? So that the people that do that aren't being penalized, but the people who are just trying to jump in and out, you're like, nah, bro, that's not going to happen.
Well, I
think
I'm going to use your schedule for time, and we're going to take the 5 minutes, and we're going to say it takes 3 minutes to ride into town and 3 minutes to come back, so that's 11 minutes. Give it a little bit more time, but
whatever that is, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think there needs just to be some feeling of, just like with cargo loading. Like I just recently, I did a cargo load and I did an auto load. A lot of times I unload stuff myself, but I did an auto load. By the time I got from the TDD back to my hangar, the ship was still unloading. There was a timer there running. And I was like, oh, shoot, I forgot about the auto load. It takes time.
It's still going.
I'm so used to doing it myself. You know what I mean? And I'd forgotten the auto loads. I was like, dang, I should have unloaded it myself. I probably would have been done by now. I didn't. That was the first time I'd never used the auto load. It was the first time I'd used it. So I do think that even for repairs, there needs to be a little bit of time passing for that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, you guys. We're at our top of the hour. We're going to do our quick commercial, and then we will be right back and continue our conversation. Thank you all for being here. Mukul, thank you for that sub. Appreciate you as always, brother. We appreciate you. We'll be right back, folks. Hello, everyone. If you are seeing this, that means you are one of our subscribers, and we appreciate you being here with our wonderful friends, Girl-in-Pigtails and TheQue. We're having a great conversation, as we always do with them, and little Cody, who is running around in the background. Listen, just to tell you guys a quick message, next Sunday, we will not be having a show. We'll announce this again at the end, because we are all going to be in Las Vegas for Quantum Vegas. But that Saturday, we are going to be live streaming at 6 p.m. Eastern time. The Quantum Vegas Machinima Awards. We're going to be doing a live Machinima Awards from Las Vegas. It'll be on our stream. We're going to ask some of our other friends if they would also co-stream it to help folks be able to watch it. But if you can tune in next Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time on our channel, that will be running, and no show next Sunday. So we will, of course, look forward to seeing you when we get back from Las Vegas that following week. Hopefully you can tune in. And so, as always, thank you all for your support, and thank you for hooking us up and taking care of us. Okay, we are back. Hello to everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you guys are enjoying the great conversation that we're having with our good friends, Girl-in-Pigtails and TheQue. We're going to jump down to this next topic here. Talk about some time sinking stuff. Eating, drinking, deucing, and sleeping. Now, let me tell you about this eating and drinking thing. I remember when they first talked about eating and drinking was coming in, and the people set the place on fire. This is not a survival game, blah, 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 blah. And then once it got out there... What did they say, Griff?
What did they say to us, though? What did they say? They said, oh, no, they're only going to give you buffs. Ain't going to be no penalties.
Right. They did say that. But then later on, once folks kind of saw we got it toned down. It wasn't as bad as people thought it was going to be. Now, we know that this is not balanced yet. And to Q's point, those of you who've taken the time to look at the nutrition guides for the game, you know that there are some things that are supposed to help you with hydration. Some of you know there are some things that do affect you now. Like to your point, Pigtails, if you run around in heavy armor, you dehydrate much faster. There are some of the impacts of that stuff in the game right now. And same thing with eating, cold weather, all that other stuff. Let's cover these real quick here. And Fastcart, you look like you were trying to figure out something when I read these. Were you trying to figure out something, or were you okay?
No, I'm good.
You figured it out?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
I'm trying to be good.
Okay.
Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear.
As long as you figured it out. Okay. So let's talk about this eating, drinking, deucing. For those of you all, does Fastcart, you want to tell them what deucing is? Do you know what deucing?
No, I don't.
We know what deucing is. And Pigtails got something to say about that, by the way.
She knows. No. She said she's very familiar. I get it. And then sleeping. What are you guys' thoughts about this? Do you think that these aspects of gameplay, and I know there's a real struggle with this whole thing about bathroom hygiene, because we didn't throw that in there too. How do you feel about it? Do you think that if it's done well, okay? You think it's just going a little bit too much? If I'm musty, somebody's not going to talk to me? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'm gonna be real quick before Pigtails gets into about pooping, because she can't wait to poop in the game.
Okay.
So dumb. No.
In 319 and 320, my character was bugged. And I didn't have to eat or drink. I never lost an ounce of hydration or food. It was the best 2 patches.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That's what I think about it. That's what I think about it. That was the best 2 patches.
Unbelievable. Well, we know how you feel then. Pigtails, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't mind the eating and drinking so much.
Okay.
I don't want to go poop. Nope. I don't want to do that. No, I don't mind the showering thing. I think that'd be fine.
Let me quote Pigtails from when they first started talking about this. She said, "If I could take a pill in real life to never have to poop again, I would. Do you think I want to do it in the game?"
I also have to clean poop daily from Cody, so I'm done.
Yeah. Okay. Fastcart, eating, drinking, deucing. I'm gonna talk about sleeping in a minute. What are your thoughts on these mechanics, these life mechanics?
Yes, I remember, just like you, Griff, when it first came out, people were saying the sky was falling, and they were saying it's going to ruin the game. They say I'm going to stop playing the game if it's too much. And yeah, it came out. They did the iterative process like they do always, and now it's kind of in a place where it's. I mean, I think it still could be better in some instances, but yeah, I think it's okay now. I'm glad that it doesn't cost too much AUC to get the food to replenish it. That you can stock up and put it in your ship and put it in your hangar or wherever that you need it. You can put it all over the place so you never have to run out. And yes, I'm okay with it. As far as the other stuff, the reason. Okay, I'll explain. I was looking up and thinking. So I remember that one instance where the character was using the restroom and it sprouted and shot him into the air. That's what I was thinking of when that happened. So I'm not looking forward to that if that's ever like an engineering. Can you imagine that engineering gameplay? Hey, I need a plumber.
So let me ask you guys this question.
That was my look.
Okay, so let me ask you all this question about food. Does food need to become more realistic? Now, mind you, the realistic term is always a wasted time because we're talking 900 years in the future. So I'm going to base it around real life today, not the future. Would it make sense that certain foods are less degradable than others? And so you understand what I'm saying. In other words, you can't put 50 hot dogs on your ship and fly around for a week. In other words, they only last for so long. After that, either you get sick or they're just not good. Because I'm trying to figure out how does it make sense for an economy? Now, maybe when you buy the protein bars and things like that, they last longer. But of course, as you guys know, when you eat those, you don't get as much fulfillment from them, right? You don't get as filled up. You might have to have 4 of them to do what maybe a hot dog does, but a hot dog may degrade more, not as healthy, right? The apples or fruit, right? Things like that. You know, I'm wondering if the economy, and the reason why I'm saying is because there are some ships, me being the origin guy here, that have these big refrigerators and things for all types of food with the kitchens, right? I would love to see them build a mechanic in like that so that when it comes to stocking my ship and there are people, God, listen, y'all, in case y'all don't know, there are people out there who actually just want to do cooking and stuff. They want to do what Q said. They want to make high quality foods that they can provide for people that buff them and do things for them later on. So if that type of mechanic goes in the direction that Q mentioned earlier, then I would love to see that. If it doesn't, then we don't need all that. But I would like to see that whole aspect of some foods are better and maybe they sustain you longer. You don't get it, to your point, Q, you don't get as hungry as fast, right? If you have these certain foods, you don't even have to worry about eating hardly for hours. But if you eat the cheaper foods, then you get impacted more.
I was going to say, I thought about this before because the food topic was like a 2 months long topic on streams, right? I mean, it was a while, right? We were talking about that for first and foremost, I think hydration needs to be ridiculously toned down. I think you should have a pack or something. I mean, you can't drink unless you take off your helmet. That's silly to me, but we'll take that aside. On the other side of the coin, though, I wish they made food more social. And if you had the cook, right, that created a meal, and then that kind of meal that was crafted in essence, right? It was cooked, it was crafted, right?
Right.
And then you sat down, then that would last you, say, 12 or 14 or 16. So basically, if everyone got together, your team or your group of people, and you did the whole cooking thing and you sat down and ate together, you would be good for the whole rest of your session.
That'd be great.
You wouldn't have to worry about it, but it would add an amount of social, gathering point. Everyone sits down, you're planning out your stuff, you're doing the little food thing,
right?
It's a little role play, but also there's a benefit. The benefit side as well. The Star Citizen loves the penalties. I love the benefits.
The benefit, that's great.
The benefit side is it would last you like 16 hours. So basically, you're good for food for that whole session. You ain't got to worry about carrying around bars with you or something like that, right? I don't know. That's something like that.
That's a great idea. I think that's a very cool idea. The Prisoner, I'm going to hit you up. You said if SC had bidets, people would enjoy pooping more. Check out the new Meteor, brother.
Heresy.
Take a look at the toilet in the Meteor. You might find your wishes coming true. There's a bidet in the game.
The toilets. I think they're cute.
Yes.
But
well, you know what? Admiral Kusanagi hates the toilet paper thing, so that's why we're talking about the bidet.
The 3 clamshells.
They actually have brought a bidet into the game finally, so that'll be something to look forward to. You get the cool water now instead of the rough paper.
Oh my god.
Okay, let me ask you guys about sleeping, and then we're going to move on. Do you think, CIG talked about this idea? I know this is all pie in the sky and it's down the road somewhere, but it was about the NPCs, and that NPCs, you could only work them for so long. What are your feelings about fatigue? We've talked about stamina. Should a player be able to sit and play the game 12 hours, or should there be a thing where you need to lay in that bed and rest? Maybe that laying in the bed cue is when you're in quantum and you're regaining some energy at that point. You know what I mean? Or when you log out of the game, you come back, you're revived, right? But do you think that it should be some type of, 12-hour clock that says 12 hours, you gotta rest or eat or do something? Because if you don't, you're going to start getting woozy, like how right now when our oxygen gets low, it gets
I
a
think
little
it's a
blurry.
great idea.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think 12 hours is too short, simply due to the fact that there are times when you know that you're going to play this weekend, right? You ain't played all month, and you plan on putting in a big session. Yeah. So whatever the number is, it just needs to be long enough. But I like that idea in the fact that it would incentivize people to log out in a bed. Instead of always just logging out in place, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what the best way to do that? If you last 16 hours, a play session, a long play session, as long as you log out of bed, you can come back rested.
You're good.
I like the idea.
Well, how long, though?
Incentivizes.
Sleeping be, though.
Yeah. Insta Shinobi, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. We're talking about various possible, what are time sinks in Star Citizen, things that we spend time doing in the game, and whether they could be made better or whether they're going to be worse. So that's what we're talking about today with our good guests, Girl-in-Pigtails and TheQue. Yes, go ahead, fastcart.
No, what would tick me off is that if I decide to Alt F4 or leave the game somehow and not get into bed before leaving, and I like come back overnight and just start again in the morning, and my character is tired because I forgot to log out in bed. That would tick me off so bad.
It would take a lot of people off.
Yeah, but it would also do what Q said. It would get you into that habit of getting into bed when you ended the game. That's what would start to happen.
Make ships with beds valuable again.
Yeah, it sure would. It's like remember back in the old days when you forgot to put your helmet on? You learned very quickly after a while.
Oh, remember they put that sign up? They put that sign up?
Yeah.
Exactly.
To your point, it still took me quite a few tries before it actually kicked in for me.
Listen, I still do it. Last week I did that. I stopped and had a bottle of water and got out on a plane. I was like, doggone it, and dropped it. What's wrong with me?
No, because I don't know about you, but I have to make sure my helmet is on.
Do you?
Before you go?
Really? Well, I need that discipline because I definitely choked myself to death last week. I don't know what I was thinking about. All right. Let's see.
And you're probably like, what's that noise?
Yeah, I know. You know what? And no, Pigtails, you know what happened? That's the problem. I didn't get the hup, hup, hup sound. There was no audio, and that's why and I was so mad. I was like, I didn't hear myself choking. What the heck happened? Like, whatever. All right. Let's talk about inventory. And this has been one that, as you guys know, CIG, this last week, in fact, on their SCL or their whatever you want to call it, they showed the new direction where they're looking to go with inventory, and it was some promising stuff in there. But my question to you all about this is, when it comes to time sync, there is kind of a pain. Like if I want to give Q something, I can't do a really we walk and stand in front of each other and just give him something. There's still this whole thing of I got to sit it on the ground or I got to sit it on something. do they need a better way to connect like person to person? We know that we've got it in the inventory stuff. Okay.
It's called an escrow system. Every MMO has an escrow system.
Yes.
I put my item in, you put your item, gold or nothing, you sit accept, and then I agree, and then it goes boop, and it does this thing. It's called an escrow system, and every freaking game has it. Dropping it on the ground is like 1995. You owe.
No, 2000. 2000.
I agree. I think Q's point, if it's person to person, that doesn't break immersion, it's fine. I do like the physicality. If I want to leave something somewhere for somebody to get it, like I'll say, hey, it's going to be on the kitchen table, then somebody can go down there and pick it up. But that interconnecting thing, especially like you said, like there have been times, Q, when we were like doing the when you're over at Korea and you're trying to give somebody else a key, right, so they can get into the thing, and then you
goes through the ground.
It goes through the ground. Like, you got to bring 5 of them with you just to get one to somebody, you know. So I do think that the transferring and trading of items and stuff like that, I think Q's suggestion is definitely spot on. Escrow system works. We know it works in games, and it's not immersion breaking, I don't think, by any means. We going to say FC?
If they can make the same actor trade a cigarette between themselves and sinners, but look that easy. CIG with $850 million should be able to do something similar. It's just a matter of when, not if, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's hit
the inventory system is in general is jacked.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Yeah. No search. There's no. I mean, it's silly.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff with the inventory thing, and that's why I said Thursday they kind of showed us this new thing that they want to do that seems like they're trying to pull it together more. But I think even those basics things like a search is just something that have been asking. Sort and search are the two things that people just want some consistent. We can figure out managing everything else, but the sort and search thing is definitely a pain. Here's a big one: cargo loading and unloading. This was another one where people hollered like crazy back in the day because it was when we only had 1 SCU boxes and people were like, I got to load my C2 up with 634 boxes. No way. But then, of course, we got a size 4 and a size 8, size 16, size 32. And that fire got put out a little bit. Now, there are some people, and I completely understand, who this is loading and unloading cargo. They see it as a waste of time or that their time's not being used in the best way possible. How are you guys seeing this? I know we've gotten some things like the atlases that have come in to help out. The elevator system is there to help out. Are you think the CIG is moving in the right direction with that? Do they need to do some more tweaking with it? Is time realistic with moving things manually to you? Let's hear your thoughts on that. I'd rather pay
someone to do it.
You'd rather pay somebody
Give
to
me
do
the
it?
option to always pay someone to do it. It is I know there are people that like it. I'm not saying that you're dumb if you like it. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's like I want to just pay someone to do it. That's it. Give me that option. I don't care how long it takes.
So for
let me pay someone to do it.
So let me ask you this: for your pay someone to do it, are you referencing the auto load system or players? Which one or just whichever one's available?
Okay. No, I do not want to have to rely on another human being.
Okay. So the auto load system
if it's an NPC, I don't care how it is, but you can make it take however long you want or pay however much. I just don't want to do it.
You just don't want to do it.
It needs to be in every station, every place, not just the landing zones, like everywhere. I need to be able to just pay someone to unload my crap.
Okay. So
who hurt me? The loading system hurt me, zombie. The loading system.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So the auto load system, which they have, is the thing that would help balance it out. But you're just saying even at the remote locations and things like that, you would rather have some form of auto loading in some form, and which is what we've had in the past, being able to do auto loading. We're going to say FC?
I'm the same. I'm in a similar way. I'm not good at FPS. You put me in a ship and let me fight, I'm fine. But having to use the scroll bar and point and click, and I mean, maybe I'll get to a point if I can. Maybe I get to a point where it'll be faster for me to do it in person than the auto load. But just make it easy. I just want to click a button and have the NPC do it.
Okay. Alrighty. Let's go on to the next one then. Engineering. This one is also, all these ones started fires when they first came out. You know, everybody was excited about engineering. Then when they talked about what was needed, everybody cut their hair caught on fire. And then they pulled, and they said, oh, listen, on certain ships, it's only going to be on certain size ships. And the smaller and medium ships won't have to worry about it as much. But there are certain little aspects of engineering that do exist on even smaller ships. I know I have a Intrepid, a Crusader Intrepid, and that ship has an engineering station on it. It has a fuse box area in it, and my components are accessible to me. How are you guys feeling about this whole idea of being able to go in and, first of all, tune components to make them better, in other words, upgrade them in some form, repair them, being able to go in and use a multi-tool, and when you get damage, maybe having somebody on your ship or you yourself being able to go in and repair. What are you guys' feelings about those?
I feel that of all the people I've talked to, the theory crafting or the hopium of what engineering could be, everyone thinks is a good idea. The implementation with fuses and the way that they went about it, I rarely run into someone who likes it.
Okay.
In theory, it's going to be good, but so far they have not been able to come up with an implementation that people go, yes, this is immersive. This makes sense. It's not a single fuse and an Idris that turns off the whole ship. Your type of crap, right? So, in theory, it could be cool, but the devil's in the details on this one.
Okay. We'll have to see where they go with it. I hear you. Fastcart?
Yeah, for me, that's the whole point of me getting the Endeavor and the Super Collider. I'm looking forward to try to tune and selling the tune items on my banding instrument. Whether or not it'll work out the way I hope, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's basically my tiering idea for 1.0. We'll see how close that is to becoming a reality whenever. But tuning, I'm looking forward to it. It'll suck that if my ship gets blown up, I have to retune or rebuy the materials to get the components back. But maybe their top tier insurance will mitigate that to a certain extent. But we have to see.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have to worry. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have to worry about destruction so much. I think it's just that from what CIG says, that's not going to be the thing. So you can have damaged components. I mean, components can be taken down to zero where they're no good at all, right? Even though your ship's not damaged. So, being able to do things like repair and tuning and making improvements to your ship. And I think it was one of the things that came out of CitizenCon last year was kind of explaining even more how most of our ships will come out as a base ship, but you will be able to do things to improve them is something that they want us to be able to do. What were you going to say?
One of my worries is that I tune a component to my specification, but as time goes by, it may degrade. I hope they don't do that, but I can see them doing that.
Okay. We'll have to see. I don't know. That's good.
The economy is going to demand it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, over time.
I've yet to play an MMO in which gold didn't just become useless.
Yeah, it's going to be rare over time.
Right.
Yeah, and that it makes sense because to your point, if economics, you do have to, you can't, something's not going to run forever. You could do maintenance on it, but not to be funny, but it's like your cell phone, right? After a certain point, your battery only goes to 80%.
Right. I was going to say like every time you repair or retune a certain component, it loses some durability in it. So at the point, it becomes to a point where it becomes stock. No matter what you do, it won't hold it better per se.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you guys played Star Wars? Was the Star Wars Galaxies the one where there was that massive crafting system?
Absolutely. Loved it.
I cannot wait for something like that in SE. My fear, and this is something that you'll see in your chat and other people's chats, is every time there's something cool, CIG has to reinvent the wheel instead of just taking the cool idea and implementing the cool idea that works. I just want the cool idea that works.
The crazy part about that is that cool idea that Sony had originally, they went and messed with it. And where they started out with this amazing crafting system with 33 careers, ultimately got melted down to 8 careers, and they killed their own thing. And it was something that, to your point, the fans thought was amazing, but the publisher thought it was too much work. It was too hard for people to become a Jedi. We want everyone to become a Jedi. So they, instead of you having to spend weeks or months to become one, it was like, log in. Do you want to be a Jedi? Yes. That's what they did. They literally wiped out the whole path to becoming a Jedi. So sometimes, to your point, you know, sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you know, but
I mean, you put your own spin on it. I'm not opposed to putting your own spin on it, but literally everything they put in the game, people, I mean, this is over and over, whether it be the chat system, whether it be the inventory system, it doesn't matter. People, they look at the first iteration and you look in Spectrum, people like, hey, why don't you look at this? Or why don't you look at this? Or why don't you look at all these other 7 games that have done a similar thing? Yeah, they put their own spin on it, but it's tried and true over 20 years. It seems to be.
Well, see, I know that's what people say, but most of the people who say that, that's about as far back as their gaming history goes. And so they're used to the way games have been churned out. And I'm not trying to be funny. The industry standard does not necessarily mean the best way to do something. The industry standard is the fastest way for them to make money and to make another game. And so that's where I have difficulty. Don't get me wrong. I do agree. There are some things that, you know, you can understand that that's the way the thing can be done. But I just sometimes have to, I always have to, maybe it's for my own sanity's sake, I have to leave some room to say, is there a reason why they're doing it this way? And it may be a stupid reason, but I have to hope that it's not just with all the experience, the decades of experience of people who are there as producers and engineers and everything else. Now, don't get me wrong, stuff still slips under the radar, but I have to leave room for the fact that because we don't know the whole picture on where they're going, that there's some latitude for there's a reason why the madness is there sometimes. Maybe until we get to 1.0, we'll find out, nah, they were all just crazy and just coming up with some stuff.
I want to reiterate,
good, you know,
a chatter who's Black Lotus, who's Adonis, he's our orc master, but the industry standard isn't T0.
Yeah. No.
It's not. I mean, we sure do get a lot of T0 that never turns into T1.
But that's not true. There are plenty of things that have moved to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. No, by mining and other areas.
Mining. I knew you were going to say mining because that's the only one. That's the only legitimate one.
Salvaging
I knew you were going to say that.
Salvaging has, cargo has. Yes, they have. Moved up.
Yeah.
Even medicine has moved up beyond tier 0. So you guys are putting a real big brush. You forget how bad it used to be. Real easy to do that with Star Citizen people. They forget how horrible it was back in the day. Y'all forgot about
the table.
Y'all forgot about a whole lot
12 years is a long time of memory. I know the elephant.
Listen, I hear you. Yeah, and don't get me wrong.
I was going to say,
you go fastcart.
Real quick, like 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe longer than that, I've been hearing something from the community that I never thought I would hear. Some people are saying that CIG needs a publisher in order to keep them on track. Now, we know how Chris Roberts feel about publishers and stuff like that, but I never thought I would hear today people say, "Oh, CIG needs a publisher."
No,
that way they can put the game out.
That's another example of what I talk about when I say about the community. Don't be paying attention to what they say, because the community is the first one to talk about how horrible publishers are. And the history of publishers, of how they've jacked up all the games that we've looked forward to that end up being terrible. So yeah, you can say that if you want to. You're only saying it because you want the game done fast. It has nothing to do with whether you want the game done well. And we know publishers have screwed up stuff like crazy. So I know what you're saying. People say that, but again, man, people got short memories when it comes to stuff with game development, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, that's just me.
True. You're right. You're right on that. Yeah. But I do work for an engineering firm, right? I'm an executive company, and I can tell you, it's not uncommon. What CIG is doing is not uncommon. When you let engineers design things, they go overboard. They feature creep it to hell. You know, that's the reality of every company. The only difference is we get to see it. Most companies, you don't get to see it.
I would agree 100%. But would you be willing to acknowledge that they are also doing some things that aren't being done?
Of course they are.
Okay.
That's what every one of these companies I'm talking about. They're doing things that isn't done, and we just don't get to see it because we're not behind the scenes like here.
That's why it hurts, right? It's a part of what happens in the industry. To your point, right? And it's painful to watch. It's painful, especially when you're on the consumer end of it.
Exactly.
It's really painful to feel. It's really painful, you know. All right, let's hit these other ones real quick because we want to let you guys get out of here because, oh my God, time's flying. Here we go. scattered items. Let me explain what this one's about. This is kind of touching a little bit on what came up in the show this week on ISC or SCL.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about when you want to go find, matter of fact, you know what? TheQue is the person to ask this question to.
You know you're going to find out about that damn mask.
Yes, it just popped in my head. It literally just popped in my head. Okay, so I'll let Q tell you guys the story. I won't even tell it. Q, why don't you go ahead and share the story real quick, what happened?
All right, so I just want to start by saying Pigtails has all these stupid masks, right? So they came out with another one. It's the same mask, okay? No difference in the mask, but it was a drop rate of, it was supposed to be 1 in 1,000. 1 in a, CIG reiterated it multiple times on the forums. 69 hours. And I'm not talking like I played. I was at a ship, log out, go to the station, go check out the loot box, go to the ship, log out again, hop servers, go to another server. I did that for 69 hours straight, guys. I was going insane. It's too much. It's too much. And then they added that crap with Wicklow where you trade. Now they fixed it, but then they was like, oh, you get a random. Oh my! I was gonna flip my lid. Okay.
Now, my only issue with this is that self-imposed insanity too, though.
It was
masochistic. It was masochistic. You know?
It was.
You know,
it shouldn't have been that long though. Come on.
Listen, I get it. I was feeling for you when you told me, when you said how many hours you had been, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how he's doing that. That's just, I can't do it. I can't do that.
Let me get it straight. This mask doesn't go in your hanger. It'll get reset when there's a reset.
No. They awarded
it
to her.
On your hanger.
But the thing is that she already had one.
Right.
She didn't actually need another one. But if you got all of them, you got one extra item. So I had to get that mask to get that. I don't even remember it was a coin. I think it was a stupid coin. I don't even think it was anything good. I think it was a coin.
That's the completionist. That's the completionist in them. That's the thing about it. That's their thing. That's their completionist thing, you know.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys about this. How are you feeling about, when they talked about this thing of common and rare and legendary, and maybe somebody in chat knows, because I didn't get to hear completely on the stream the other day what they meant by this. Are they referring to items that have some abilities that are different, or was it just cosmetic? Was it a mixture?
It's like both, Griff.
Okay.
But the problem isn't whether or not something's rare and hard to obtain. It's if it's rare and hard to obtain and you have to do it within 1 month. Then you have no choice. Either just don't grind it out and don't get it, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't have, you can, obviously they did, but you shouldn't have both a time limit and a super rare. I think that's not fair to the user.
How do you guys feel about when they do stuff tied to events or activities? Like, before, like if you did something like that and you could get the CD EF armor, but it was only if you did this thing. And do you not like that, or you do like it? Does it give you incentive to do it, or you like, I want the armor, but I don't want to do that activity? How are your feelings about when that stuff comes out?
I think it's a great idea. You should get a reward for doing an event, but at the same time,
don't put it on a timer.
Don't put it on a timer.
Yeah. So if the event ends at 3:18. Now it sucks. It means I have to do it right now. Like every other MMO, the events, you could just go back and do the old events. And you're like, okay, I can do this later.
Right.
I can make time, but now I have to make time to do the stupid thing I don't want to do.
Just because it's time.
The item, because we're a completionist, right? Now that's my problem.
Right.
Don't be wrong.
No,
but
I get it. I get it.
I just don't want the scattered items of rareness to be subscriber flare. I'm super against that.
Right. So you want it to be something that those items should be unique to themselves, whatever they are too. That would be a better thing. How do you guys feel? One of the problems I've had, and this, I don't know if this is, I think this is a loot item system problem. I hate when I go somewhere to buy the armor and everything's there except for the arms. And now I gotta
So silly.
It's like, what? Where are the arms at?
No, Hugh gets very hangry about this.
I'm like, a shop would have all that color, right? They wouldn't just have the.
They got the purple, but they don't have the violet one. What's up with that? Yeah. So and I think this is a problem with their loot table thing, but I mean, hopefully that will be something that will be worked out. Or the wrong color. It's red, right? Yeah.
My thing, this is, I mean, it's similar, but not quite. But the new referral program, they have this thing that the ArtCorp Snow Globe that I've been asking for since 2016, and that you need 7 new referrals, not the one you already got. Don't really count. You need 7 new referrals for that thing, and I'm
3,000 referrals down the tube for us.
It's like. It's like I'm doing the math, so that's 7 times $40. No.
Oh my God, that's funny. Well, I will proudly shout that I only have about 6 referrals. After all these years,
7 on the old system, but they don't count toward the new one.
Terrible. I'm so terrible with my referral code. That's great. You guys got 3,000. I forget about that code.
We didn't get 3,000 because we have 3,000 friends.
Oh, okay.
I paid for 3,000 subs.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I didn't buy each individual account. I didn't buy. I'm not a lie. Look, I have no reason to lie. I paid for someone to push my referral code out, right? That's what I did.
Okay, well, there you go. You got them. There you go.
I mean, to be fair, though, we do have like, what, 18?
You've got some people. Yeah, you guys have people. Yeah.
But not 3,000.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Now that you say that, about 3 of those accounts are ones that are my accounts. I forgot about that, so I probably only have like 2 referrals. I just dawned on me. That's terrible.
Yeah. One is my old account that I never use.
One is yours.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I was like, I've been waiting 2 years to get to number 5. So I just gave up and said I'll just do it.
Okay. Last but not least, again, we can kind of combine all these into a conversation. Injury, sickness, incapacitation, death, permadeath. I want to go back to injury first. CIG showed us a little while back. Actually, I remember when this happened to me once, and I don't know if Q or Pigtails, you guys have had this happen, where I got injured so badly where I couldn't walk and all I could do was crawl. I literally freaking crawled to a Pisces, and it must have took like 15-20 minutes for me to crawl all the way to the Pisces. And then when I got there, there was no way for them to get me up on the freaking medical bed.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
So
I've been there.
Yeah, it was really crazy. But they at one point, and we know this a little bit of this is in there with injuries. Sometimes you can get a level 2 or something where your gun, or level 3 where your gun drops, whatever it is, level 2, your gun drops out of your hand, or you can't aim well, things of that nature. Sickness. And my question to you about the injury thing, it took about 20 minutes we were doing the platforms at Orison. Remember those platform missions? It took remember at the end you had to like go to this one particular build. It took forever for me. Like it almost took like 30 minutes for me to finally get back. Is that a time waste? Or is that like, I mean, there were 4 of us limping and we were all having a good time talking. You know what I mean? Like laughing about it. But man, it literally took about 30 minutes. Serious Fun was with me. I think Sirius, you were there when that happened. We limped our way all the way back to the freaking hospital, man. It was jacked up, but it was okay.
So yours is yours is the same as mine, 100%. Okay. And Black Lotus is in here as well. So that was the best time we ever had in Star Citizen was Orison, and we went back limping. I mean, it took forever. However, time and place under normal gameplay, it is annoying. If it's an epic thing, it was epic and it felt epic and everything was there. But if I just go to a bunker and someone shoots me now I can't aim anymore because my arm shot. It's annoying, right? So time and place. So I liked it in that one situation. I thought it was epic.
Yeah.
But average gameplay, it sure does interrupt.
Yeah. I think the other thing that it taught me on that particular instance, I don't know what the name of the pin is, Q. You know how there's one of them that masks your injury so that you can kind of get through it. And so eventually we found a couple of them. And I was able to do a little bit of running, but then once we ran out of those bad fellas, like you said, it was limping and crawling all the way back.
It was limping and crawling. That's what we did.
And I got
so slow to get to the hospital because it's so far from the tram on Orson.
Exactly. Exactly.
It was great.
Exactly.
You know what y'all need? Y'all need a service. You might have heard of it. It's called Life Alert. So whenever you fall and can't get up, you just call them and
just
let them know.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys about sickness. That's something that has not been introduced into the game. I know we alluded to it a little bit when we talked about food going bad. There is some sickness in the game. If you eat, you guys know that weird poop that you find in the caves? If you eat that stuff, you start hallucinating. You get jacked up. You get like queasy and all types of stuff, right?
Why would you want to eat? Never mind. What made you decide to eat?
I didn't. But there's a video out there that somebody did a machinima where a guy ate it and he got all sick and everything. Do you think that stuff like sickness should be introduced into the game, that you actually can get sick? God. Now, and I'm just saying, is that something for medical possibilities? Yes. Should sickness be something?
Absolutely.
Maybe your stamina's at maybe you can only run at 80% health because you freaking was out in the heat too long, or fever, or you out in the cold.
Y'all really trying to make this game like too much like real life.
No, there was a really good post on Spectrum by someone from the Med Runners, and I mean it was extremely detailed. It was a dissertation, to be honest with you, but it was really detailed on balancing the fun part as well as I like the idea of it. My problem is I don't trust them not to just make it so harsh that it becomes annoying. That's my problem.
We got to make sure to keep it balanced. We got to keep it balanced. Yeah. TC Creator, you mentioned that about the radiation poisoning. We've already kind of got stuff like that's happening in the game now with rads. I don't know what happens though. What happens? Does anybody know what happens when radiation really starts to get to you? Do you just collapse or something, or do you start seeing stuff weird, or what? Does anybody know in chat? If radiation gets too high in you? I know when people got hit by that freaking
like if you get too hot,
the pyro solar immersion thing was jacking people up. When that was when people were testing pyro, that the solar burst thing, that would jack people up. I don't even know what happens.
Overheating makes your screen look like heat on plastic.
It does.
Oh yeah. That looks bad. Yeah. That blurs your vision. You can't start seeing on that. I've seen for overheating. Okay. Incapacitation. We get 1 hour and 30 minutes on incapacitation. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I know that later on there's going to be this possibility of calling an NPC to pick you up if a player doesn't do it. But does that give you a sense of urgency, or do you sit back and say, I got 1.5 hours, I don't have to worry about anybody, take your time and pick me up? How do you guys feel about that?
There's only 2 options, Griff. There's only 2 options. If someone's with me, come grab me. If not,
or boom,
backspace.
You hit the backspace. Where's your role playing, Q? Where's your role playing for the medical people? Okay,
I'm afraid someone's just gonna come and murder me and take my junk.
Oh, okay.
Shoot me. I don't know. We got a Black Forest game or Dark Forest game, right? You can't trust anyone in this game.
I get it. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've only had that happen to me one time, and I've done med thing calls at least 15, 20 times in the game before. Only one time did somebody ever pop me. In fact, one guy, what he did was this is back when you could take stuff off of people. He actually disarmed me first. Then he raised me up so that I couldn't get up and shoot him. You know what I mean?
Nice.
and then he went on ahead and left. But can't.
How many times have you been in an elevator that fell to the ground? 0, right? But there's still people that are afraid to get in an elevator, right? Yeah, it's an irrational fear, but it's still a fear that I have. It's like
you guys got PTSD. I get it. Trust me, I understand. I'm just saying, I'm lucky. I've been lucky. I've only had it one time where somebody popped me when I asked for a medical thing to come get me. But this is not real. Don't get me wrong. I've heard plenty of stories of people who came and just double tapped somebody, and that was it.
It only takes once of you wasting 45 minutes where you're like, I ain't having again.
Yeah, I get it. Death, permadeath. CIG recently kind of went through some clarifications on these topics of talking about how they don't want us to necessarily die. And even now there's this new mission that's in the game that has to do with the fact of regen. Regen is a big thing that they're trying to do. The amount of lives that people get. I'm going to kind of encapsulate this to this question for you guys. There's always been this thing of how many times do I get to come back? Like, what do you feel is a fair number? Chris Roberts has referenced the old days of arcade games where you got 5 lives and that was it. I know the last time he talked about it, which was in 2022, he still talked about 4 to 5 lives. Now, mind you,
only one thing that matters to me.
Sure. What's that?
keeping your name. You can make me do a new character every single time if I get to keep my name. People are attached to their in-game name. If you make me do a new name, I don't care if it's 100 deaths. I will stop playing the moment I have to recreate a new character with a new name. Right? But it could be every day as far as I care. As long as they keep my name, who cares? It's just another freaking avatar.
Yeah.
I
hear what you're saying, TheQue, but as far as I know, it goes to your kin, and I don't think the kin can have the same name.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what's gonna. It will literally cause me to quit the game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I will stop playing if I don't get to play TheQue. That's it.
So you're not worried about loss of reputation or anything else. Just as long as I can keep TheQue, you're good. Okay,
correct. That's correct.
That's fair.
I mean, my suggestion would be if you do die, have your character named TheQue too, or maybe they'll let you rename the character for a price.
See, that's something that I think would be interesting. I think Q's point is well made that people do, when people give thoughts in making their name. They may not give thoughts to what their face looks like or anything else, but they do give thoughts in when they name their character. So
I've had this name for what, a dozen more games? I mean, it's the same name, right? Her, same thing, right?
That's what you played as. Yeah. That's a really good point. I've never really given thought to the fact about the name actually changing.
I'm everywhere.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. That's a good point. Not only that, people are known by their names. And to your point, Q, that creates another level of chaos. Like I'm in Test Squadron. In Test Squadron, our general rule is if you're in Discord, that name needs to be your game name. You know, and people do get to associate you with that because when they want to log in a name with you, whether it's in Discord or whether it's on the game, they know exactly who they're playing with, who they're talking to. So yeah, that's an interesting point. Go ahead, fastcart.
What I can see people doing is that they make their character with the name that they want, then they make a second character on the same account that they can. Once that character has the name that you want and died and goes to your kin, they will kill off the kin, make and use the character.
I'm not jumping through those hoops. I'm just gonna quit. Even as deep as I am to this game, I will literally stop playing. I will literally stop playing.
What if it only takes four deaths for your kin before you can get your name back?
Why you gotta make me jump through hoops for my name? For my name.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing on this permadeath thing. When you die, which should be? I know that the fastcart alluded to this a little bit. And CIG did too. Will there be situations where maybe you can pay to get that extra life, or to your point, Q, something that you do to keep your game? But when you come back, are we looking at instantaneous? Are we looking at?
Oh boy!
I think you need a funeral and.
Don't say that. Don't say that because Chris Roberts had that in Squadron 4.
No.
What you call it?
Yeah.
No, he literally did say. He literally said way back in the day, your character will have a funeral scene, and then your kin will pop up as you.
Oh my!
He literally said you have a funeral scene.
I don't care how long it takes. I just want my name. All the penalties don't matter. They really don't. They don't matter to me because this game's supposed to have penalties. Just not my damn name.
That's fair. That's fair. I agree with you. I'm attached to my names too, so it's like, wow, I don't want to lose my name. I lose the character, but I don't want to lose. I lose reputation, but I don't want to lose my name. I don't know about all that. Yeah. All right. That's a good point.
You can take 40% of my stuff. Just let me keep my name.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a good point. All right. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up here. We had a fun conversation, a lot of fun here with Q and Pigtails. And as always, we were happy to have them. Well, it's been too long, but I'm glad that we got a chance to have them on.
Love you guys.
This
Love
summer.
you guys.
You guys make sure, fastcart, if you would, please put a shout out for them in chat. You guys be sure to check out with them and little Cody. They play together, which is, like I said, we don't have a lot of married couples that play the game together, or stream, I should say. There are plenty of people that play, but not stream. So when you guys get a chance to check them out, Q, tell them where they can find you while fastcart's pulling that up for you.
Well, 12 minutes. Sorry. You might have to do it for me.
Carbon-Tails _underscore GIP. That's where we are.
Okay.
We do a nice little stream. We both stream together. It's a widescreen. We both have our own. It's pretty neat. I think it's unique. Spent a lot of time on this set up. I'm very proud of
Yeah,
it.
the
I hate to
Cody
brag, but I am very proud of it. I worked so many hours building this thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, stop by, say hi.
Absolutely. You guys definitely check them out. Hope I'm spelling everything right. GIP.
Huh?
You guys be sure to check them
For what?
out.
Oh.
Did that come up right? I don't know if it did. It come up fastcart? Oh, I
There,
can't.
it's right there.
Did it come up? Okay.
Type hi.
There it is. Yeah, I was just trying to see, did it come up for me though? I didn't. I think we're on the 12-minute timer, so we got to wait a couple minutes.
Click her name. Just click her name and it'll take it. That's how it works.
Will it still do it?
It's all good. Yeah, just click her name. Well, not you. I mean, anyone in chat. Just click her name. We'll take her to the
okay.
thing.
Yeah. I was trying to do the shout out for you guys. That's all. I was trying to get a shout
Yeah,
out.
it's not a big deal. Not
right.
a big deal.
Okay. Awesome.
We do have a Q&A.
We do have a Q&A. Okay. What do we got?
So this is from Cotton Face. Do you think repair time and replacement time should be equal? Example, if a player takes 5 days to recover, it would take 3.75 days to repair.
No. And one of the things CIG wants to do, Pops, I think you've heard them say this, they want things that players do to be optimal and that the automated things be like your backup, right? They would rather that you, to Q's point earlier when he was talking about loading and stuff, they'd rather that you get players to do it. If players do it, they may be faster and more efficient. But if there are no players around, you have that backup to being able to have an auto load. Repair is kind of in that same area. You should be able to have repairs done by a player and maybe done better or quicker. But if not, you go to a station or you go to a repair place and then they'll be done there. That's the option if there are not players around to do things in the game. If you make it so that it's automated faster, then people will never engage with players. They'll always do the automated, even if it costs more money. So I think there's going to start that balance. Mm-hmm.
Player economy fastest, automated second, and then full claim longest time.
Yep, exactly. What else, FC? We got another one?
Just a comment. I think it was just a comment, not a question. So yeah, we're good.
Okay. Good morning, Jade from Thailand. Hope you are doing well. Bright and early.
Wow.
Hope you're doing good. Yeah, Jade is traveling, world traveler out there.
Nice.
Miss having Jade around, but I hope you're doing real well. I hope you're
bright
doing
and
really
early
well.
Or just really late.
Well, she says morning.
How was your quantum?
Yeah, she says morning, so I don't know. That's a good question. Okay. Real quick, got two little quick things that we want to cover. As we mentioned to you guys, we have Quantum Vegas coming up this next Saturday in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to show a quick promo for that and talk about what's going to be happening next weekend. So just kind of take a look at this real quick. You guys are seeing this is a brand new promo. I just did this afternoon, so you guys can check it out.
And be different. It begins.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice and short and sweet and to the point. Okay. That is going to be next Saturday in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tickets are still available for those of you who can make it. If you're on the Pacific Northwest, if you're over on the West Coast, if you're in Arizona, any place like that, and you want to come, give consideration to coming, having a great time with us. We are really excited about next week. I'm going to have a lot of fun there. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm going to mention it now. Where is it, fastcart? Where is it? I think it's here. Yeah. Next Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be live streaming the Quantum Vegas Machinima Awards. We're doing a live Machinima Awards from Quantum Vegas. You guys can tune in and check it out and see some of the machinimas that we're recognizing from the year 2016 all the way through 2023. And then we're going to be giving an award for the winners from last year for 2024. It's called the 2095 55 Awards. So hopefully you guys will be able to tune in on next Saturday. That's on Saturday, not Sunday of next week. We want to make sure you keep that in mind. And the reason why we want you to keep that in mind is because on next Sunday, we will not be here. There will not be a Soul Citizens next week because we will still be in Las Vegas, Nevada. But we'll be making our way back for that following week. So just want to remind you that next week, no show. But on Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, you can tune in and watch the Quantum Vegas Machinima of the Year Award. Also coming in the month of July is Lore Lighthouse. Our very own Serious Fun has been working to come up with this new program that's going to be going into the lore of Star Citizen in a very unique and engaging way. I'm excited about what he has showed us, and we are excited to have him do that. And we'll be filling you guys in on that when we get back. When we get over this hump of next week, and we'll be able to talk more about that in detail. Drakazox, thank you so much for that. Excuse me. That
thank you for that sub. Thank you for that sub.
Yeah, thank you for hooking them up, hooking up the family.
Came to me. Yeah, that was nice.
Family. All right. Fastcart, did I cover all the bases? Are we got everything done? I think so.
Yep. And I put the link in and everything. So yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, you put a link in for me. I didn't.
Quantum Vegas.
You know, why is my thing never in the right place here? I don't even know who that is. Okay. That's a new person. All right, we're going to set you guys up for a... Is all my stuff always in the wrong place? Oh, this is Verity. Okay. I thought that was somebody else. I don't know why it looked like it spelled something different for me. All right, gang, we're going to send you guys over to our...
Your eyes are not as good as they used to be.
That's what it is. Yeah, the old shock absorbers ain't what they used to be. You're right about that. We are going to get you all set up with our good friend Verity. I got to type it in manually because it does not want to take that. When you guys get over with Verity, let her know that you came over from the Star Citizen community. That's a different Verity. Is that our Verity? She's using she's now a VTuber. Oh my goodness. I didn't know that. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, when you get over there, say hi, let her know that you came from the Soul Citizens. Once again, Q, Pigtails, thank you guys. Love you. Thank you for being here tonight.
Love you
really
so much.
Appreciate
Thanks.
you. Everybody stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And as always, peace, love, and soul. We'll see you later. Ciao.